Good morning, Texas. Good morning, Louisiana. Thanks for joining us on Smart Money Culture TV Network as well. Thanks for joining Around the World on X and on LinkedIn and YouTube and all these other wonderful places. I am coming to you from Washington, D.C. My trusted brother, David Porter, is joining us from Dublin. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm fantastic. It's a beautiful day. It's blue skies. It feels like you can smell spring in the air. And it's probably the first time I've seen solid blue skies since I got here. And
Oh, yeah? It's one of those places.
Feels like a brand new place, brand new day here. So doing well. Yeah, we're working it.
Very cool. Well, we have, of course, always interesting stuff going on. We have Congress. No chemtrails, Carlos asks. Are there chemtrails out there?
Of course. And they use the ocean, and they just blow it in off the ocean from under the water there where you can't see it. And yeah, they keep it nice and cloudy. You don't see the chemtrail streaks as much because they use
cloudy.
this.
You don't see them, right?
Yeah, they use the wind and they blow it in off the ocean.
But Carlos, chemtrails are a worldwide phenomenon. That is one of the things I noticed as I traveled around the world, and they're doing this everywhere now. In places like Dubai, it's a little different. They don't so much do the chemtrails, but they will seed the clouds for it to rain. It was really funny. I did a live broadcast from there years ago, and I talked about how they were seeding the clouds, and they blocked the broadcast for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or something, and then they let it go. But it was funny to me because, of course, and then who knows, maybe it was something else, maybe it was a coincidence, but they literally tell you, and they do something different. They actually shock the clouds. They send up some type of electricity or something like that, and then that's how they create the rain. But when it rains, when they create the rain over there, watch out.
Oh yeah, I was there on New Year's the year before, and they made it rain for 4 days, and it looked like a tropical thunderstorm going on.
Yep.
Yeah, it was something else.
They're
and the Burj Khalifa there got struck by lightning several times.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got his same link of him come on at 40 past. All right, the Solana guy is coming on today, so that'll be cool. We'll talk about that. So Congress is readying another bill. They've agreed or whatever in principle, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you can't believe it!" It's like they have a little. It's like they have a love affair or something with Speaker Johnson. They want to believe that he's okay, and then sure enough, never mind your border or the millions, tens and tens of millions of people that have entered illegally, dead people, all this stuff. We're sending money to Israel and Ukraine to protect them. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's billions and billions of dollars. Every time they do a bill like that, pretty much for every 100 billion that they mint up to send over there, because that's really what they're doing. They're not using tax money for that. They're using inflation money for that. That's the tax to do it. Carlos, I agree, man. There is something going on with those chemtrails. I don't know why they're doing it, but it's pretty funny because our whole lives, right? You look up at the sky, or not our whole lives, but for definitely the last 20 years or so, and there it is. And at least now you're not called a conspiracy theorist, or I guess you still are if you talk about it. But I don't know. It's crazy. So yeah, so Congress is they're gonna send over the money, and that's it. The illegal crossings. Oh yes, I agree. The illegal crossings have to stop. So the Supreme Court did come out in favor of having Texas be able to enforce the border. But I mean, and everyone's like, "Oh, big win, this and that and the other." Guys, the biggest crazy part about that ruling was it was a 6-3 ruling that Texas could enforce the migration laws. The biggest story of that is that 3 Supreme Court justices voted against it. How can you be a Supreme Court justice as of the United States and vote against having a border? They should be disqualified. We should be able to get these people off of there. I guess we need to see what the process is. This Letitia, or whatever her name is, I don't know what her name is. Brown, whatever. I don't know her name. I mean, she's unbelievable. We can't have people like that. I mean, she's going to be a Supreme Court justice for the next 20 or 30 years. Like, are you kidding me? The country's not going to look like we already have 3 radical, whatever you want to call them. And now we have this person. I mean, it's just a joke, really. It's ridiculous to have somebody on there that is just, total blatant disregard for free speech, the First Amendment, any of that stuff. Craziness. So, they are sending more money. So we're going to bring on Eric at 45 past the hour with Solana. We'll have Matt join us in about 8 minutes, right after the commercial break. And pretty exciting show. Solana has been one of the most exciting tokens in ecosystems in the space. I mean, Solana is like exploding.
It really is. Every time you see a new promotion, usually I'm on X, and they built it on Solana. All these new projects, these new memes especially, they're being built on Solana.
The meme coins and the NFTs especially, well, the thing is you have just so much liquidity there. I mean, it was $11 a year ago, right? It dipped down to 11. It went all the way up past 200. So it went 20x from there or so. And so that's that's what happened with Ethereum back in the earlier days, not in the early days, but Ethereum went from it was like under $100 or whatever for a while there, $67, $70. It was like kind of hanging around there. And then it went to $600 or $700, and then everybody had money to pay everybody. So whatever you wanted done, you never talked about dollars anymore. It was just how much Ethereum. It's easier for everybody to swallow. Well, that's going to be 20 Ethereum, or that's going to be 50 Ethereum, or 10 Ethereum, or 5 Ethereum, or whatever you want to say. You never talked about dollars. It's just Ethereum. And, and of course, if you held on to it, you 10x from there too, or so. So pretty good stuff. Okay, so what I was saying, though, about the border crossings. So the border crossings are not the border crossings, the money that they're minting up. So for about every $100 billion that they send over there, that costs every household in America about $1,000. And they take it from you via inflation. And the math that I do to get there is very easy. There's about 113 million households in America. Okay, so if you want to do the exact math, 113. So if they mint up another $113 billion, or let's just say $100 billion, then that costs you $1,000. And as I always say, the government's budget is always balanced. There's no such thing as an unbalanced budget for government. The budget is always balanced. And so they take that money from you from inflation. And that's how it works. Excuse me. I'm getting over it, but the last man standing over here. The wife got it, the kids got it. Actually, my 14-year-old, she's got it too. But of course now she's 14 and she's got love or romantic interest and all these other things now. So she's fine. She's no, I'm fine. Anyway, one of the big problems that we have, of course, with the situation in Congress, and the reason we can't control anything there is, of course, because the central bank has such a stranglehold on that. If Congress had to come to you and say, "Hey, we need $1,000," and you're looking at your yearly bills and you're paying whatever you're paying for your kids to go to private school and your house and your this and your that and everything else, and you're saying, "Well, I'm already giving you however many thousands of dollars." Like, no, I can't afford to give you another $1,000, because remember, this happened in January as well. So January they did the 95 billion or whatever it was, and every time when they say it's 95 billion, well, for every 100 billion as well, you tack on another 3 billion, and that's for the Federal Reserve. That's for the central bank, because they charge about 3% on the about 3% interest. Pray for my mom, please. She's in the hospital for 5 days so far. Prayers your way. Pray for your mom. I hope she recovers, and I hope she is doing well. I hope she comes out and does well. That's crazy stuff. David and I spent a lot of time on the phone the last couple of days, and talking to a lot of people, and it is life never stops. You know what I mean? It just keeps going, and the more people you touch, the more insight you get to the different things. It's pretty crazy. So before we bring on, we're just on commercial breaks here on Smart Money Culture TV. I just wanted to go over a little bit of what I usually show on the markets, and then we'll hop off here, or not hop off, but we'll bring on Matt Dixon, the great Matt Dixon. I have over here oil. Oil is showing down a little bit, but man, it's sticky over 80. Like I said, sticky over $80. So it's down 1%, but it's 82.60. And actually, I went to the store a couple times. We call it the Moscow Safeway, because the prices are so high, even though I know Moscow, from what Tucker Carlson says, is not that expensive. When I was there, it was expensive. Bars and stuff anywhere. It was funny, David. They had a whole the Irish bars, the Irish pubs. Those are worldwide. Even in Moscow, the coolest places to go are the Irish pubs.
Yes, it's a staple, right? And every city has a few Irish pubs.
Every city. The dollar on the Japanese yen, of course, is continuing its upward thrust. Bank of Japan, I mean, in theory, that should turn around, but it's not really happening. With the Bank of Japan tightening the interest rates, that should make their currency stronger against the dollar, but people don't seem to want to stay in that currency. There's a lot going on there. They raised rates for the first time in 17 years. The HSI, which is the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, is basically tepid. It is just up a little bit. Dow futures at the time of starting the show were down. Again, tepid. Very down, very slightly. Gold down. I think, and it'll be interesting to get Matt's take on it, but I think people are getting ready for they're getting ready for this Fed meeting. Good morning, James. Good to see you, brother. The Fed meeting today. All eyes are on the Fed. We have a privately held central bank in the United States. In most of the world, we have a privately held central bank. In the U.S., it's called the Federal Reserve. And they are going to decide how much to charge you, how much interest rates to charge you, or if to leave it the way it is, or whatever. So, thanks for joining us on Smart Money Culture TV. We're about to come off a commercial break over there. I'm just keeping an eye on it. We can go ahead and bring Matt on. Hello, Matt. How are you, brother?
Hey, good morning. Good to see you. It's going to be an amazing day today.
Yes, it is. We're about to. I'm just watching the channel. I'll let you know right as we come back in on Smart Money Culture on the TVs.
Yeah.
But all eyes on the Fed today, huh?
Yeah, well, I've had a haircut specially for the Fed.
Sometimes I feel like I have a haircut with the Fed.
So,
It looks good.
We've actually got an amazing day today with, I always go into the technicals. I talk a little bit about fundamentals, but when we talk about individual tokens, I'm usually talking about the technical analysis side of things. We're bringing
we are live back on Smart Money Culture TV in Texas and Louisiana, and of course streaming around the world. Matt Dixon, the great Matt Dixon, he is MD Trade at on X of Avi, and of course Sir David Porter and myself joining. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, fantastic. So as I say, I talk a lot about technicals, a little bit about fundamentals in the market, and we'll touch on that today because it is Fed Day, of course, interest rate setting day. So let's look forward to that. But we're going to be bringing on later Eric Miller, who really is one of the experts about the fundamentals behind Solana. Solana is that great chain we've talked about. It's really broken records on volumes and everything. So very much looking forward to that later. He's given me a little bit of a preview about some of what he's going to talk about, but it's genuinely exciting and informative. So I'm just sharing my screen right now, Bruce. I trust you can see.
Yes.
Great. So
we're looking at DXY.
DXY absolutely taken off. And as you said, maybe this is just ahead of Fed. I mean, it's quite interesting that stuff always moves ahead of time.
Oh, yeah. The insiders know. They don't lose.
Buy the rumor, sell the news. So just look at this. We'll just jump back to the dollar yen. And we saw when the news came out yesterday that basically they'd upped interest rates after how many years was it? 24 years, 17 years, whatever it was. Many, many years. They upped rates from negative to 0. And we actually saw the yen weaken massively. So this is actually dollar against the yen. So you see the dollar strengthening against the yen. So the yen weakened massively. We actually overnight smashed through the overhead resistance here, the dotted line. And when you look at here at the RSI, we can see that, yes, it's in overbought territory, but actually it can become much more overbought. These markets can do that. And there's actually no divergence in place. So the actual RSI, the volumes are increasing with the actual dollar increasing against the yen. So there's no real indication. There's no candle indications. There's no technical indications that this is going to reverse. So at the moment, dollar's looking strong. And when we jump into DXY, again, you can just see the dollar's really on a tear at the moment. So this could be, obviously some people know what's going to happen tonight. They know pretty well what the statement's going to be. It's already been written. You can be sure of that. They know all the economic data that they're looking at. So a lot of people in the know. So the dollar's rising. So I suspect they're probably going to be talking quite a hawkish talk about the US dollar, which may mean, they know ahead of time that the dollar is going to rise. Maybe it'll rise further. It's not necessarily going to be good short term for risk assets, but if we get a surprise, it all depends on what they're going to say, because the rates will stay the same. It's virtually nailed on that they won't change the interest rate tonight, even though the economy is probably beginning to cry out for it. Inflation, as we know, has risen of late. And so we are going to see rates not change tonight, but it depends on the commentary. I suspect they're going to give quite a hawkish commentary, which is probably why we're already seeing a rise in the dollar. And let's just flip through very quickly before we bring Eric on, and just remind me when we need to bring him on. But we've looked at the dollar.
So we'll bring him on right after the commercial break. So it'll be 45.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we've seen the dollar strengthening there. I looked through all the assets, and just once again, lovely to see. Obviously for me, eBay is actually the biggest riser of the day, up 11.62%. So that's done really nice. And this again could be, just beware, it could be buy the rumor, sell the news, because there's a lot of rumor now beginning to do the rounds about these amazing eBay upgrades. Obviously, we're talking about them a little bit. I actually think that it actually will also be buy the news personally, because I think once these things are released to the market, I think it can only be positive really for eBay. But we're beginning to see some positive price action for eBay here, up 11.62% for the day alone. And as I say, once these new upgrades, utility, the raise, everything comes out, it should be positive. But let's jump on to the big assets. So we'll probably do Solana last as a sort of run into what Eric is going to tell us. But we'll look here at Litecoin, which I know is one of David's favorite to trade. We broke out of that triangle. I've adjusted the wave count quite slightly because I do think that this sell-off that we've had is probably just a pullback, an opportunity to jump in perhaps for, to dollar cost average, as I said yesterday, maybe pick up some more assets. So these pullbacks are really an opportunity, I think, to buy. The pullback appears to be quite choppy here. So I've adjusted the wave count slightly. So from a triangle, you get a thrust to the upside, but I think it is a final thrust to the upside on this particular cycle in a Y wave. But I think the A wave itself was made up of 3 waves, A, B, C, to make up the larger A wave. Then we got a choppy B wave down, and I think we're close to a turn higher on the market. So it'll be really interesting to see what the Fed have to say. Whether we dip lower, it really does depend so much on what the Fed say, but I think there's potential for the markets to push higher. I don't think we've yet seen the highs on the markets. XRP is another one that we've looked at that has fallen quite a bit, just on the sort of general pullback we've seen in the markets. I do think there's solid support around this sort of level. You can see we've spiked into this buy zone, this support buy zone, I would call it, potentially. We spiked into it, we've consolidated around that area. So if we were to dip, maybe we get a temporary dip further tonight, but I do think that following a dip, I think that we should get a further rally to the upside and see some really good upside across the range. Ethereum has begun to pick up a little bit as well today. We've had quite a good pullback. It looks to be in 3 waves. You can kind of see that if you look from the top here, a bit of a move down, a move up, and then a further move down. It looks like it's a kind of 3-wave pullback. That will be very typical of what's called a corrective pullback. It means that the direction, the impulsive direction of the market, the trend of the market, still appears to be much higher, and this is just a corrective pullback. So I would expect that the markets are going to push higher again, probably sometime after the news tonight. We're seeing, obviously, Bitcoin had a bit of a pullback. We may get a short-term pullback. I've got support drawn in here around the 59.60 area for Bitcoin. So I do think that we could get a little bit more of a pullback, but I think that this is just, again, a corrective pullback before we get another bounce to take us to new all-time highs for Bitcoin. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be really good. And again, I think people can treat this potentially as a buying opportunity. You never put all your eggs in one basket. You spread your assets. You don't put everything in at once. But these pullbacks are probably just a great buying opportunity. Gold, as you say, has done virtually nothing. It's changed. It's minus 0.17% today. This little pullback appears to be corrective. You can see it's really choppy, and that's typical kind of a sort of wedge pullback where you normally get then an impulse to the upside to take it to new highs above here. So I think the Fed are probably going to warn about inflation, but they're not going to do anything about rates, and they'll probably still say that they've got things relatively under control, that inflation will be dropping, et cetera, et cetera. So I think they're going to talk a nice talk, and it is election year, as we've said so many times, that we know that when the time comes, they'll support the market with money printing. And that is something the Fed shouldn't really be doing. I don't think their remit is to support the market, but they have so many conflicting interests. I think they will be supporting the market. So whilst there'll be some hawkish talk, they're not going to raise rates, they're not going to lower rates. They're doing nothing on rates effectively, but it all depends. I think that there may be a little bit of hawkish talk tonight, but then I think we'll be back on the dollar weakening cycle once again soon. So we're seeing this current rise as we've just seen in the dollar. It's pushing higher, but at some point, I think the dollar is still going to reverse. I'll just look at that longer term and just see what we can see. It does actually look, you can see there on the daily how impulsive that really looks, can't you? Lots of green movement there with no real pullback at the moment. So it may be that we have got a little bit higher to go on the dollar before we pull back. But tonight is the night. All of those meme coins we looked at, they're behaving, they're pretty
like
positive.
Meme coins. They're behaving like meme coins.
Well, they're performing today about twice the rest of the market in general. So Doge up 4%, which is about
It's like
twice.
margin. It's like margin trading, except as long as they don't go nowhere, you don't get liquidated really.
Yeah, and it would be really crazy to do any leverage, I guess, on these meme coins because, as you say, they're on steroids already. So why would you?
It's like margin trading. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, Book of Memes once again outperforming the rest of the memes, so that's a really positive.
Well, the
one.
Book of Memes, I'll tell you what. It's pretty interesting about the Book of Memes is that they, first of all, very well connected project. They're on all the major exchanges right off the bat. And they started their coin market cap page at the very beginning. So most of these other meme coins, they start at like this very, very small point way down at the bottom. And then they have this meteoric rise, thousands of percent up. But by the time they hit coin market cap, you don't see that initial part. You only see that on the DEX tools or whatever. So by the time they get to coin market cap, maybe they go up 100 or 200%, and then maybe they go down or whatever. But Book of Memes, they had their coin market cap page ready at launch. And so you can see it because that's where people don't go to DEX tools unless they're like us, right? Most people just go to coin market cap. And
they were introduced straight away to the big exchanges. So
absolutely. So that is a very well connected project. And when that happens, that means that the big exchanges have a nice bag too.
Yeah, very much in their interest to push the price. So once you get on the likes of Bybit, I mean, Bybit now are probably second in line after Binance in terms of volume these days. So Bybit is a phenomenal exchange, but I think they went straight onto Binance and Bybit. So massive volumes, yes. Massive interest. They push it out through their media as well. And as you say, it's very much in their interest to push the price. So,
yep. So I think it's kind of an anonymous team, but they're not really anonymous. Like whoever's behind it, they all know each other.
Yeah, as you say, they have some big names behind them, and that actually is what is one of the secrets behind these, because a lot of these memes don't really have a lot of utility behind them. In fact, most of them don't. We did say yesterday that Doge does, now has some real utility, and they can actually build. And I think the Book of Memes will be one of those that has utility, and I think probably Floki as well. Again, probably has a positive future ahead of it. So like that analogy I gave the other day about the supernova, most of them, flare up and get this massive price increase and then die down to nothing. Some of them actually continue to shine, like Doge and so on. So, again, they're a good part of the ecosystem. If they can actually turn some of that money into real building something, useful, then it's a really useful thing to be involved with. So, you said gold. We've been through most of the assets there. So positive day in all. The other one we've looked at, just a couple of others while we're here. ICP is getting a bit of a rebound. It's had quite a nasty fall recently, hasn't it?
Yeah, that one will move. I actually expected it to go a bit higher. Of course, you were saying for a while there that it was a little bit petered out.
I think that it's only natural to expect there to be a pullback after such massive rise in the market. I mean, I'm just trying to include some of that. You can see some of that rise in the market, and you can see that the pullbacks that we've had, it's kind of 3 down, 3 up. We might even pull back a bit further, to be honest. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a bit more of a pullback. The market was really overdue a pullback, and you have to think about how the market is feeling. And when it's had a massive rise, there's going to be profit taking. But what's good to see is that the move down here, you can see from the top, it's actually in 3 waves, this move down. And 3 waves is always a corrective move. It's not an impulsive move. So because it's corrective, it means that we should push up again. Now, although we did push up again, it's in 3 waves to the upside. So you can get 3 down, 3 up. We would expect to see 5 waves to the downside. That's why I expect most likely we will still see a bit of a push lower. So I think if you ask my opinion, which you may not be, but I'm going to give it you anyway, the Fed tonight is going to come out hawkish. It's going to be a bit of a knock for risk assets. So I do think we'll push down a little bit further with risk assets. That includes most of them. But then I think the market will recover after that and push to new all-time highs. So I think there'll be an initial shock. I think the Fed is going to be a bit hawkish, and I think they have to be. They've got no way not to be with the inflation figures that we had. Inflation, as you probably remember, came out higher than even the expectations. So in both the core and the flat rate. So I do think the Fed have to at least talk.
Oh, I mean, every time they do a measurement, it's higher. I mean, every time, whatever it is. I'm like, oh, they're gonna lie about it, and they're gonna come out, and then they're still bad, and you know they're lying because they always lie. So if it's bad, it's really bad.
Yeah, and just before we get Eric on, because I know he's going to be on in just a few moments, I do want to touch on the Solana and look at, from a technical perspective, where I think we're going on Solana. So I do think that we're close to the finish of this fifth wave in blue. So what we've got a one up in red. This was from that $8 low you talked about. From $8, we got a push of one up in red. Then we got a correction down in red again for wave 2. Wave 3 itself is made up of 5 waves. We've got a very clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there was a Fibonacci relationship between wave 3 and wave 1. That was really sweet to see. And then we're pushing up in wave 5 in blue, but that will only complete the third wave in red. So then, yes, we're going to have a bit of a pullback in a fourth wave in red, but that means we still have a strong push higher probably to come in the fifth wave in red. And because that's all impulsive, yes, we're going to get then another pullback after that. But then because it's impulsive from the low here, it means we should then push up to new all-time highs. I think the end of this third wave in blue will most probably be around this area, this fib area, 1.618 times what I've measured as wave 1, would take us to $241. So not the all-time high in the next run up, but I think we're going to pull back from there, and then I think we do push. Then next one will be to new all-time highs for Solana. So I think from a technical perspective, it's looking really good. But I'm looking forward to hear what Eric has to say about the fundamentals behind Solana, because it is genuinely exciting.
Well, it really is. It's able to handle all kinds of transactions. Although there are so many transactions on the network now that, of course, I was reading. Coming into the show, that it's hard to keep up. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, even these exchanges. Look at the Radium and these other dexes. I mean, it's just like massive amounts of transactions, and then of course, everything else that's going on the network too. Pretty amazing stuff. It's fun. It's a fun business to be in, crypto. I always thought so.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, I can't see, have we got Eric in the background there? Because I'm really looking forward to his presentation today.
Yes, we do. We can bring him on, and then I can lead us into the TV time if you want to do that. Or
yeah, that'd be nice. I mean,
hey Eric, how are you? You're on mute there. Eric Miller with the Red Penguin Group. We'll have a bit of a discussion here, and then we'll go live on TV. We're on a commercial break right now in about 3 minutes, so I'll do that lead in. But how you doing? Are you there in where are you? Are you able to hear us, Eric? Well, I'm glad we got some of our technical stuff out first.
There we go.
Have we got you there, Eric? Maybe not. I wonder what the issue is.
Maybe send him a WhatsApp message real quick.
Yeah, I mean, he said that he can hear us. He can hear the music, but he can't hear us. So I'm not quite sure why.
Private chat.
Huh?
Yeah.
In private chat.
Oh, he's in chat. Here he is. Okay. You have music playing. David, is music playing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let me pause it. See if that helps. Now, can you hear us? I don't think so.
Hey, are you guys there?
Yeah,
Can you
we-
hear me?
Hey, there he is. How are you, Eric?
Yeah, for some reason I can't hear you though. So the music just stopped, but it's good that you guys can hear me.
Well, I'll tell you what.
So we'll just
Pick up your. Well, yeah, that's gonna be challenging. All right, we're gonna coming.
So here, let me pull up here. Yeah, let me pull up here on.
coming off commercial in 2 minutes. So 2 minutes, and then we'll start, and we'll let you do a presentation.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not sure why I can't hear you guys. The music has stopped, but you guys can hear me.
Yeah, as long as we can hear you. I know you got a great presentation ahead, so we'll just count you in, because this is really good stuff.
Maybe he should close it and reopen it.
Yeah, close it and reopen. It looks like he's trying to sign in and reopen.
Oh,
See if that works. Close the web browser.
I'll do that. I'll close and reopen.
Yeah. We're live, folks. It's live television. That's the way it works. Okay. We're live.
So Solana's had just while Eric is lining himself up, it's had a bit of a pullback, but in the scheme of things, it's actually nothing. It's really not moved back much at all. I mean, we got to 209, somewhere around there. $209. It's 170. Sounds a lot in crypto terms. It's nothing, and in Solana terms, it's nothing, because we went from $8 all the way to that, and we actually previously peaked at, I think, $258. And I guess Eric will probably talk a little bit about where we've been, where we're going, and so on. But
where we've been and where we're going to the moon.
I think that's.
Are you with us now, Eric?
Still no audio. Well, thanks. I'm going to bring us in. We are back on your TVs in Texas and Louisiana. We have with us here Eric Miller. He's with the Red Penguin Group. He's going to talk about Solana. Eric, go ahead. We're having a bit of an audio issue with Eric.
All right. So appreciate you guys having me on today. I saw I saw that we had Matt up there talking Solana, which is one of my personal favorite chains. Story about my Solana venture started back in 2021. It was really, the bull market was running. I found the coin, not knowing that I would come and find an actual community there as well. Decided that I would dig into Solana at that time, and really found just an amazing community. And I think we all know at that time, Solana was really showing some great signs. It had pumped to about 260 per coin. The community was vibrant. Devs were building. FTX was heavily involved. And then shortly thereafter, we saw what happened. And that's really where I wanted to go today, was just give everybody just a brief overview of just why Solana. So Solana really at that time, for me, became the chain. And I know people are throwing around the terms retail chain. And there's two things that really stick out to me right now that really set them apart from other chains right now. And one of them being that they survived the FTX crash, and then their speed and their efficiency. So let's just rewind back to the Solana and how they survived that FTX crash. A lot of people probably saw the coin go down to $8 per coin once the FTX news came out. Again, SBF, Sam, was a huge part of the Solana ecosystem. They held about 40 million coins. And of course, with the collapse of FTX came the collapse of Solana. Also during that time, the community got a major blow, and that was that the top NFT in the Solana chain, the top community in Solana, decided that they were going to leave and bridge to Ethereum. It was another just major blow. The FUD started coming in. The media was talking Solana is dead. Solana was experiencing massive network outages at the same time. So it just seemed that the Solana world and a lot of people were just talking that Solana had really hit that rock bottom and was dead. And you know what they say, when you hit rock bottom, you only have one place to go. And I do think that that's true, but there's sometimes where the alternative is you can also go away as well. So that brings us to post FTX crash, right? We're now seeing some signs that Solana is trending up. As Matt was showing, we show price has been really massively going up. We're not quite to that all-time high of 258.93, but as Matt was showing, it looks like we could get there soon, hopefully. Back to the NFT community, it was something that really held the Solana group together. And there's a NFT called Mad Lads, and they recently surpassed Bored Ape Yacht Club in volume, which if anybody knows and follows NFTs, Bored Ape Yacht Club was the Ethereum NFT. Major celebrities held it. So this just shows again that there's been this comeback in Solana. We're also seeing ETH maxis coming over onto the chain and using it for the first time, which really wasn't the case in previous years. And then network outages. We've only seen one in the past 365 days compared to 15 in previous years. One thing to note too, in that one network outage, that really the price didn't drop that much. Usually in the past, you'd have a network outage and it would be significant decrease in price from that outage. And then something that I think is really, really spectacular, and I'm going to show this on the next screen, is the active wallets. And really they're at an all-time high. But if I could sum up the journey since 2021, the FTX crash, what's one word that really defines Solana in today's would be resilience. It's amazing to see the community and the amount of community, the amount of developers who have really huddled up and have continued to build through the bear and really come out with some exciting projects, some exciting technology. And really, I think that the future is bright. Here's this screen here that shows the active wallets. You can see back at this time last March, we were at about 150,000 active wallets, and it's now spiked to over 600, almost 700,000 active wallets. In comparison, ETH has about 1 million active wallets. So you can see that there's really been this massive, massive rise in activity on the Solana chain, which to me just shows signs that the user experience is there, right? That the transaction speeds, the low cost, everything that Solana has been known for is really starting to prove and get some adoption onto that chain. Another graphic that I just love to share is Google Trends, right? Google is great at capturing what's trending on the internet, what people are searching. And you can see here that over this period in March that we're actually seeing a larger uptick in Solana searches than we are in Ethereum. Again, I think that's very bullish. Solana, again, just making headwaves. And I think it's starting to wake up that others are starting to take notice. This right here is speed and efficiency, right? This graphic over to the right, to me, tells the entire story between not only Solana and Ethereum, but really Solana in any chain. And it has to do with the fees that Solana has. And again, most people know that these fees are just much, much less expensive to operate on Solana. And what this is showing is that Ethereum fees on March 16th, they collected almost 12 million. Solana for the same day did 4 million. So a third less. However, Solana is about 5 million times cheaper. So it's really amazing when you can see the amount of fees that Solana is doing, the high throughput Solana is doing, and has less nodes to do it. So Ethereum has 3 times more nodes, more validators than Solana does. However, Solana is doing 130 times more throughput and generating fees at a really staggering rate when you compare it to what Ethereum's doing. Here's a nice little graphic here that just shows the range of fees and where they are. And they really are a fraction of a penny, even still, with some of the small network congestion and things going on. So what's next, right? Speed and efficiency. It's the retail chain and the technology continues to just produce. So the biggest technology and the advancement that's going to be coming out this year is what's called Fire Dancer. And Fire Dancer has been started by Jump Crypto. It will be a Solana validator that's been shown in beta testing to do 1 million transactions per second. That is by and far leaps and bounds above anybody else out there. For instance, some of the updates that are coming out with Ethereum right now are at 100,000 TPS. So this is a 10x on transaction speed, which is really, really impressive. It'll enhance reliability. It will also be more efficient. It'll have low cost for the nodes, which to operate for users to want to get onto the network. And then also, of course, help with failure points and resiliency. So for me, when I talk Solana and I talk about the tech and I talk about what's next, it always starts around Fire Dancer. This truly could be the tech that really, really pushes Solana forward. So what's next, right? Here we are, we have Fire Dancer coming out. We have real life use cases of companies who have built. We see adoption coming. I'd love to share those with you guys on a next segment. I have some blue chips, some companies that have already built who have launched tokens that I think are great to be watching right now. So again, I really appreciate you guys having me on. I love talking Solana. Would like to come back on more and share the Solana community with you guys.
Awesome. I just I private chatted you there. What are you working on? If you can cover that would be great.
I'm not sure whether Eric's even seen the messages, but yeah, that was absolutely amazing. I just wanted to say actually that we're actually migrating ourselves. eVay are migrating to the Sol chain for many of the reasons that Eric said. I mean, transaction costs. I mean, what did he say? 1/5 millionth or something ridiculous of the ETH cost. I mean, that's really quite a limiting factor when you look at trading. When you look at the costs, the gas fees and so on, when you're doing swaps, it can be really, really expensive. So that's a big plus in favor of Solana. But also the fact it is actually becoming the retail chain of choice. So that's one of the reasons that we're moving over. Obviously, we're doing so many upgrades with eBay. We need to reinstigate the smart contracts, effectively rewrite the smart contract. None of the existing users will lose out at all. They'll be transferred straight over to Solana. But I just think this is the chain of the future at the moment. I don't see anything else that can really match it in terms of costs, in terms of speed, in terms of reliability, security. The only one thing I would say is that the cost of being a validator is expensive, and that kind of leads towards a bit of centralization. But I'm sure they will deal with that as they've dealt with all the other issues that have ever challenged them.
Yeah, well, that's challenging. I think for a lot of different, that's one of the things, and it is, decentralization is one of the important parts. So it sounds like, Eric, you can hear us now through your phone. All right, awesome. I don't know. I should have thought of that earlier. It's very early for me. It's like 6 a.m. over here on the East Coast. I am starting to get used to it, but where are you? Are you in Dubai?
So no, I
mute the phone.
Wait, we should mute the microphone on his
There you
screen.
go. Just talking to your phone. There you go.
Like that.
Now unmute your phone. Your phone is muted. Oh, we're having all kinds of problems.
Eric's in Florida, by the way.
So he's in Florida. Nice. Haven't been to Florida. All right. Well, if you unmute your thing, we only have a couple minutes anyway.
What do you want to hear about his project particularly?
Yeah.
Maybe the Red Penguin Group?
Yeah. What is the Red Penguin Group?
All right. So I'm gonna turn down here so I can respond to the question. So Red Penguin Group, yes. So I formed this group to really be an advisory group to crypto startups, and it started on Solana. One of the projects that we have helped with is a group called Divvy.bet. It is a decentralized sports book on Solana. And one of the things that I really found fascinating about this project was it was one of the first that really offered users the opportunity to be the house. So what you can do is you can provide liquidity to their pool, and then as the house performs, your liquidity can go up or down based on the house. But that was one exciting project that really is disrupting the industry, and found that would be just a great entry into Web3, right? I mean, the profile of a degenerate or someone that has high risk tolerance really starts in gambling, and saw the mass adoption that could happen with it.
Very cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Eric. It was a pleasure to have you. We'll have you back. We'll have to test the audio first. I've actually been on location before, and I had my phone as using as multiple things, and that's how I was doing it. So I should have thought of it earlier. But anyhow, great presentation, and happy to have you on.
Yeah, appreciate you guys, and thanks for working with me through these technical difficulties.
No problem. We'll be down in Florida. We head down there quite a bit. What part of Florida are you in?
I am in Tampa, Florida.
Okay. So we will soon be on TV there in Tampa as well. So we're picking up some stations in Tampa, in Miami, in Los Angeles, and a few other places. So that'll be cool too.
Great.
We'll keep you in the loop.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Matt. Nice meeting you guys. Take care.
Thanks, Eric.
So there you go. Despite some technical difficulties, the ecosystem there in Solana is growing a lot. There's a lot of technology that is coming out in this space. That's one of the most amazing things for guys like David and Matt and myself to work with so many amazing people. Beginning to interview so many people that were so smart over the years is part of who made me who I am, and made David who he is. And you talk to enough smart people, and sure enough, you start to figure out what's going on. Yeah. So another great segment. We're gonna wrap it up here. They're gonna cancel us or turn our TV signal off here in just a second. Thank you, Matt, and we will see you in the morning.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, David. Thanks, Bruce. Thank you, everybody. All the best.
Cheers. Stay tuned, and you'll stay lucrative.
Thank you.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.